Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining my second session today, which is all about how to apply Gita to one's professional and personal life. हम गीता से हमारे प्रोफेशनल और पर्सनल लाइफ के लिए कोई सीख कैसे ले, इसके बारे में हमारे सारे सेशंस हैं. आपने हमारे पिछले सेशन में हमने ये देखा कि हम गीता को कैसे पढ़ें, क्यों पढ़ें और उससे हमें क्या सीख मिलेगी, गीता है क्या, और इसको समझने के लिए वो कौन से मेरे कुछ फ्रेमवर्क्स हैं जो ना ही सिर्फ गीता के लिए बट आप किसी भी ऐतिहासिक पुस्तक को हो या फिर कोई धार्मिक पुस्तक हो उसको समझने के लिए आप कैसे उसको यूज़ कर सकते हैं. इन द लास्ट सेशन वी अंडरस्टूड how to study Gita, why to study Gita, what is this Gita all about, and we also went through few of my specific frameworks that can help help you not only to understand Gita but also to help you understand any historical book, any religious book whatsoever. What are those frameworks that will be best leveraged while understanding these books and texts. Now that we understood those aspects and we also picked up certain fundamentals that will be necessary to understand Gita, कुछ खास ऐसी चीज़ें जो हमें गीता समझने में काम आएंगी वो भी हमने पिछले सेशन में देखी. आज के सेशन में हम चैप्टर 1 और 2 देखने वाले. इनकी खासियत क्या है, अध्याय 1 और 2 की खासियत, व्हाट इज सो इम्पॉर्टेंट अबाउट एंड इंटरेस्टिंग अबाउट चैप्टर 1 एंड 2. तो जैसे हमने पिछले सेशन में देखा कि गीता जो है ये सारे उपनिषदों का सार है. वी अंडरस्टूड दैट गीता इज प्रीटी मच अ सम अप ऑफ ऑल द उपनिषद्स दैट आर देयर इन द वैदिक स्क्रिप्चर्स. देन इन दैट केस, इफ दैट इज ट्रू, अगर ये सच है तो अध्याय 2 और 3, चैप्टर 2 एंड 3 आर प्रीटी मच द सम अप ऑफ द एंटायर गीता. चैप्टर 2 एंड 3 आर ये सारे गीता का सार है. तो आज जो हम चैप्टर 1 और 2 देखेंगे इसमें हम काफ़ी इम्पॉर्टेंट और क्रिटिकल कॉन्सेप्ट्स को समझने वाले हैं. वी आर गोइंग टू अंडरस्टैंड लॉट ऑफ क्रिटिकल कॉन्सेप्ट्स एंड फॉर अस टू देन अंडरस्टैंड एंड डेवलप अपॉन इट, इट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर अस टू अंडरस्टैंड सर्टन फंडामेंटल्स. अगेन कुछ खास चीज़ों को समझना बहुत ज़रूरी है. उसमें से सबसे अहम चीज़ जो है वो है ह्यूमन फिजियोलॉजी. हमारे योगिक स्क्रिप्चर्स में, योग शास्त्रों में ह्यूमन फिजियोलॉजी को काफ़ी एक ख़ास तरीके से समझाया गया है. ये हमारे मॉडर्न बायोलॉजी के साथ कोरिलेट करे ना करे लेकिन फिर भी इसको समझना ज़रूरी है. और अगेन गीता समझने के लिए ये मानना ज़रूरी नहीं कि ये सच है. गीता समझने के लिए ये मानना ज़रूरी नहीं कि यही सच है, इसी तरह से हमारी फिजियोलॉजी होती है. ऐसा सच मानने की कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है, बट इसको समझना ज़रूरी है ताकि आप गीता अच्छे से समझ पाए. ऐसा क्यों है मैं आपको आगे जाके समझाऊंगा. द होल थिंग इज़ दैट यू नीड नॉट एक्सेप्ट this way of defining the physiology as truth. If you believe in the modern biology, rather one should not believe that is scientific fact. Modern biology is the right way to study human biology, and all that's studied in there is the right scientific way of understanding it. So if we are prescribing to that, if we follow that, doesn't mean that we have to believe in this. Even if you don't believe in this, it doesn't matter, but knowing this is going to help us understand Gita better. And why am I saying this? You will understand it as I go into the chapter. But what you have to know is about body, soul and superconsciousness connection. शरीर, आत्मा और परमात्मा के बीच में जो कनेक्शन है उसको समझना बहुत ज़रूरी है. और उसको किस तरह से समझ सके, उसका आसानी से समझ सके, इसके लिए मैंने 2 एग्जाम्पल उदाहरण दे रहा हूँ आपको. मैं आई एम गिविंग यू 2 सिंपल एग्जाम्पल्स फॉर यू टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट कनेक्शन बेटर. आप इस तरह से देखें कि अगर कोई गुब्बारों में अगर मैं हवा भर रहा हूँ तो मैं बहुत आसानी से पॉइंट कर सकता हूँ कि ये लाल गुब्बारे में कौन सी हवा है, हरे में कौन सी, पीले में कौन सी, नीले में कौन सी, एंड सो ऑन. I can pinpoint exactly which air or what volume of air is within which different balloon. I can exactly point that. But if I prick the balloon, अगर मैंने गुब्बारे को फोड़ दिया and the balloon gets burst, तो जब वो हवा उसमें से निकल के एटमॉस्फेयर में चली जाएगी, द एयर विल रिटर्न टू द एटमॉस्फेयर, वी विल नॉट बी एबल टू डिस्टिंग्विश विच वॉज द एयर दैट वॉज इन विच बलून. विल नॉट बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड, राइट. द डिस्टिंग्विश फैक्टर कम्स इन व्हेन द एयर इज अ पार्ट ऑफ दैट बलून. एयर इज इनसाइड अ पर्टिकुलर बलून. द सेम इज द केस विद द इलेक्ट्रिक बल्ब. विद्युत डिवाइसेस के साथ भी यही चीज़ है. उपकरणों के साथ, विद्युत उपकरणों के साथ भी यही चीज़ है. द सेम इलेक्ट्रिसिटी गोज थ्रू द इलेक्ट्रिक बल्ब, द ट्यूबलाइट, द एयर कंडीशनर, द वॉशिंग मशीन, द मिक्सर, द टेलीविजन, द वॉट नॉट. वही विद्युत करंट है जो अलग अलग विद्युत उपकरणों में जाता है और उनको चलाता है. If the bulb goes off, we can replace it with the new bulb in the same socket and it will glow just as well as the earlier bulb. पहले बल्ब की तरह ही दूसरा नया बल्ब जल उठेगा उसी सॉकेट में जब हम बटन दबाएंगे, क्योंकि वही इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, वही विद्युत उसमें से जा रहा है. नाउ व्हेन द बल्ब ग्लोज वी कैन आइडेंटिफाई, हे द बल्ब इज ग्लोइंग, बट दैट द इनसाइड ऑफ इट इट्स द सेम इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, राइट. अगर ये कॉन्सेप्ट आप समझ सकते हो तो इसी को आप शरीर, आत्मा, परमात्मा पे अप्लाई कर सकते हो. यू कैन अप्लाई टू द बॉडी, सोल एंड द सुपर कॉन्शियसनेस. दैट व्हेन द सुपर कॉन्शियसनेस, जब वो परमात्मा आपके शरीर के अंदर आती है, when that supreme consciousness becomes a part of your body as you give birth, then you recognize it as soul. तब आप उसको आत्मा कहते हैं. वही परमात्मा है, वही सुप्रीम कॉन्शियसनेस है, वही ब्रह्मन है जो आपके शरीर में जब आता है, जब आपका जन्म होता है, तब आप उसे कहते हैं आपकी इंडिविजुअल आत्मा. और एंड नाउ व्हाइल आई एम टॉकिंग टू यू, आई कैन डिस्टिंग्विश बिटवीन माई सोल एंड योर सोल. वी कैन डिस्टिंग्विश बिकॉज मेरे शरीर में एक आत्मा है, आपके शरीर में आत्मा है, लेकिन ये आत्मा हम दोनों में जो है वो वही सुप्रीम कॉन्शियसनेस, वही परमात्मा का पार्ट है. जैसे कि गुब्बारों की जो हवा है, गुब्बारों के अंदर की हवा वही एटमॉस्फेयर का एक पार्ट है, और जब गुब्बारे फूट जाएंगे तो हम डिस्टिंग्विश नहीं कर पाएंगे. उसी तरह जब हम मर जाएंगे तो हमारी आत्मा या तो दूसरी शरीर ग्रहण कर लेगी या तो फिर वो विलीन हो जाएगी उस परमात्मा में. This is the concept, this is the simple concept of the soul, that I can distinguish between my soul and your soul as long as it is within our body, but at the end of the day it is the same supreme consciousness which is reflecting in our own body as our soul. But when the body is gone, the soul is either taking another body to get in, or it goes back to the supreme consciousness, and then now we can't even recognize which was my soul, right? And this is the concept of Atma, Paramatma, Dvait, philosophy and all that, dualism philosophy and all that. You can read about it on Google, but this is all that you need to know about it while we understand Gita. There is a bit detailed aspect of it as well. हमारी फिजियोलॉजी में हम कहते हैं कि 3 भाग होते हैं, स्थूल देह, सूक्ष्म देह, कारण देह. या फिर हम मोटा मोटी तौर पे ये कह सकते हैं कि जो बाहरी बाह्यांग है हमारे, जो बाहरी बॉडी है, द फिजिकल बॉडी, विच कंसिस्ट ऑफ अ स्किन, ऑफ अ मसल्स, ऑफ अ ऑर्गन्स, ऑफ डिफरेंट नर्व सेल्स, सेल स्ट्रक्चर, डिफरेंट डाइजेस्टिव, रेस्पिरेटरी एंड रिप्रोडक्टिव सिस्टम्स एंड व्हाट नॉट. ये जो भी हमारी फिजिकल बॉडी है, ये जो हमारा शरीर है, ये है स्थूल देह. इसके अंदर कुछ अलग अलग प्राण हैं, प्राणवायु है, जो अलग अलग सिस्टम चलाते हैं. रेस्पिरेटरी सिस्टम चलाने वाली शक्तियाँ हैं, रिप्रोडक्टरी सिस्टम चलाने वाली शक्तियाँ हैं, हार्मोनल सिस्टम चलाने वाली शक्तियाँ हैं, नर्वस सिस्टम चलाने वाली शक्तियाँ हैं, एक्सक्रीटरी सिस्टम चलाने वाली शक्तियाँ हैं. ऐसे अलग अलग शक्तियाँ हैं. दैट बिकम्स द सेकंड एस्पेक्ट ऑफ अ बॉडी. एंड देन देयर इज द थर्ड एस्पेक्ट ऑफ द बॉडी विच इज़ द कारण देह, विच लीड्स टू आवर एग्जिस्टेंस. इसमें भी, इस पार्ट ऑफ दिस ह्यूमन बॉडी में भी एक एस्पेक्ट है ऑफ आवर सेंसरी अवेयरनेस, कॉन्शियसनेस एंड इंडिविजुअल आइडेंटिटी. हम अपनी खुद की अवेयरनेस है कि मैं एग्जिस्ट करता हूँ अपनी इस दुनिया में, और हम आजू बाजू के हमारे दुनिया में क्या हो रहा है इसको हम जब जानते हैं, उसके बारे में अवेयरनेस लेते हैं हमारे सेंसरी ऑर्गन से, हमारे पंचेंद्रियों से, 5 सेंसेस दैट हेल्प्स अस गेट द सेंस ऑफ where we are, what we are doing, what's happening around us and all that. ये कैसे हम तक पहुँचता है उसका भी एक डिस्क्रिप्शन है, एंड विच इज़ वेरी सिंपल. तो जैसे आप यहाँ पे देख पा रहे हैं कि लेट्स से देयर इज एन ऑब्जेक्ट, कोकोनट ट्री. ओके, उस कोकोनट ट्री को हम कैसे देख पाएंगे या इसको महसूस कर पाएंगे? इफ वी लुक एट इट, आवर आइज विल कैप्चर इट. If we focus on our ears, we'll be possibly able to hear the rustling of the leaves. पत्तों की आवाज़ हम सुन पाएंगे, आंखों से इसको देख पाएंगे. अगर हम इसको छूने की कोशिश की तो हमारी स्किन से, हमारी त्वचा से we'll be able to understand, we'll touch and feel the roughness of it and all that. We can smell it, right? And if we can drink the coconut water, we'll understand how it tastes. है ना? तो ये 5 5 senses get to tell us what this coconut tree is all about. How does this work? Let's pick one sense. Let's pick up the eye. हम देखते कैसे हैं? जब ये ऑब्जेक्ट को टच करके लाइट वेव्स हमारी आंखों के अंदर आती हैं, तो हमारी आंखें उसको एक इलेक्ट्रिकल इम्पल्स में कन्वर्ट करती हैं। वो जो इलेक्ट्रिकल इम्पल्स में कन्वर्ट करने का काम है वो करती हैं आँखें, द सेंसरी ऑर्गन्स, द 5 सेंसेस, द पंचेंद्रियाज। पंचेंद्रिया हमारे इन अलग अलग ऑब्जेक्ट्स में जो प्रकाश है उसको अंदर लेके उसको एक इलेक्ट्रिकल इम्पल्स में कन्वर्ट करके बट उसको अवेयरनेस में कन्वर्ट करना कि ये कोकोनट ट्री का इमेज है, ये जो रिकग्निशन है, ये अवेयरनेस है, ये मनस में होता है। इट इज़ दैट पार्ट ऑफ दैट ब्रेन, दिस अवेयरनेस ऑफ इट बीइंग अ कोकोनट ट्री हैपन्स in a section of the brain which is termed as manas, and manas is nothing but a repository of all the awareness that comes in. वो डेटाबेस है, वो सारे अवेयरनेस का जो हमारे अलग अलग सेंसेस हमको दे रहे हैं। और सेंसेस सिर्फ एक्सटर्नल सेंसेस नहीं होते, इंटरनल सेंसेस भी होते हैं। हमारे शरीर में हमको पता चलता है कि हमें भूख कब लग रही है, हमेशा हमें पता चलता है कि वी गेट टू नो व्हेन वी हैव टू यूज द रेस्ट रूम फॉर एग्जांपल। ऑल दिस इंटरनल सेंसेस आर आल्सो कमिंग इनटू अस, इनटू आवर ब्रेन एंड गिविंग अस सम स्टिमुलाई. It is telling us what's happening with our own body and what's happening outside of our body, right? And all this awareness, and just awareness, we still don't know what is what. We just know what's the sense that coming in. We get to know, for example, कि हमारा जो bladder है वो अभी pressure में आ गया है, right? That is all we get to know. That is the sense that goes into the brain. हमें बस इतना पता चलता है कि हमारा bladder full हो गया है, वो अभी हमको बताता है कि there is a signal that comes to our brain. But that is what that awareness, it's at that level, it's just that awareness, and that gets stored in manas. Manas is the repository of all that awareness that comes in from all quarters, and ये constant है, आपको पता भी नहीं चलता क्या रिकॉर्ड हो रहा है। आप गाड़ी चला रहे हैं, वो मनस में 50 चीज़ें अंदर आ रही है, लेकिन आपको वो रजिस्टर नहीं हो रहा, बिकॉज आपकी बुद्धि उसको अभी तक लैच नहीं कर रही है। योर इंटेलेक्ट इज नॉट अलाइंड, दैट्स व्हाई इट्स 24/7 एक्टिव, इवन इन योर स्लीप it is gathering information. The awareness is constant. मनस is active 24/7. जब तक आप जिंदा है तब तक मनस एक्टिव है, और आप वो 100% information अंदर खींच रहा है through our senses. Kind of, even if you are asleep, it is giving you a lot of information, है ना? But intellect is what is then kind of driving the decision that what is important, what is not, what should be prioritized, and then analyzing that information also, that it is not just any tree, it is coconut tree, right? That identification is coming in from buddhi. Why I have used the symbol of a knife, मैं चाकू का इस्तेमाल क्यों किया हूँ? बिकॉज इंटेलेक्ट इज अ डाइसेक्टिंग इंस्ट्रूमेंट। इंटेलेक्ट, बुद्धि, ये चीज़ों को तोड़ के उसको समझने की कोशिश करती है। इट्स एन एनालिटिकल इंस्ट्रूमेंट, है ना? एंड इंटेलेक्ट विल बेसिकली आइडेंटिफाई इट फॉर यू, बट देन हाउ डू यू गेट टू नो what it means to you? It happens when the identity, the I comes in. ये मेरे सोसाइटी के बाहर का नारियल ट्री है. It is the coconut tree next to my society. The my comes from Ahamkara, the ego, the part of the brain which makes your identity kind of clear. There's a part of the brain which makes you feel that I exist. This is me. This is my body. This is my house. This is my hand, my mouth, my hunger. I am hungry. That I, me, my comes from this ahamkara and the ego. And it is very important because of it, the awareness that is coming in 24/7 and the intellect which is analyzing it gets associated to you, and you get to know what it means to you. It's danger to you, it's good for you, it's healthy for you. What it means to you, that comes through अहंकारा. अगर अहंकारा नहीं है तो आपका सर्वाइवल ही नहीं होगा, आपको पता ही नहीं चलेगा आपके लिए क्या ज़रूरी है क्या नहीं है ना? तो the ego is a very critical aspect of the brain. The self identity is a very critical aspect of your brain and a part of our survival instincts as well. Without that हमारा सर्वाइवल ही नहीं होता, हम शायद इवॉल्व भी नहीं होते इस स्टेज तक, जिस स्टेज तक हम बने हैं, अभी इवॉल्व हुए हैं. बट इससे ही काफ़ी नहीं होता. ये सब की वजह से क्या होता है? व्हेन द अवेयरनेस कम्स इन, जैसे मैंने कहा, अवेयरनेस इज 24/7. इट इज जस्ट कमिंग इन, इवन इफ यू आर asleep, it's just recording lots of things. That is why, even if you are asleep, fast asleep, if the bladder is full, you get to know that, hey, I need to wake up and go to the restroom. Something in your mind tells you that your bladder is full and please wake up and go to the restroom. Why? Because the sensory organs are always kind of analyzing and making yourself aware. The intellect is processing it. It could be a subconscious or nervous system based intellect, or your brain directly when you're awake. And if you're asleep, it is the subconscious. But something that some intellect is kind of processing that awareness information, and then it is getting associated with you, the ahamkara, and then you kind of take an action. How do you take the action? When do you take the action? The actions come. आप कब इसके ऊपर काम करते हैं? आपको जो भी इंफॉर्मेशन आ रही है उसके ऊपर आप काम कब करते हैं? आप तब काम करते हो जब आपको कोई इंस्टिंक्ट या इम्पल्स आता है. Let's say if you see the coconut tree, the instinct could be that it's a beautiful coconut tree. I must, relax under its shade, probably, sometime soon. ये अंदर से एक feeling, there's an instinct, there's an emotion that comes in, there's a desire that comes in. अगर आप किसी fruit को देखते हैं तो आपको खाने की इच्छा होती है. That the desire to eat comes in as an impulse, and that is when the action comes in. आपका इंटेलेक्ट आपको बताया था कि ब्लैडर फुल है, प्लीज गो टू द रेस्ट रूम, एंड देन यू गो टू द रेस्ट रूम. सो प्लीज गो टू द रेस्ट रूम इज एन इंस्टिंक्ट, इज अ इम्पल्स दैट कम्स इन. All these impulses that come in because of the awareness, the intellect, and the identity, the ahamkara, and the interplay of all of them, those impulses are called as vruttis. एंड इफ़ यू आर कंप्यूटर एक्सपर्ट, अगर आप कंप्यूटर एक्सपर्ट हैं तो आप बहुत आसानी से समझ लोगे इस तरह से कि चित्त ये जो है ये ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम है, और इस ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम में जो अलग अलग प्रोसेसेस तैयार होते हैं, इम्पल्सेस, इंस्टिंक्ट्स, डिज़ायर्स जो तैयार होते हैं, वो है वृत्तियाँ, उनको कहते हैं वृत्ति. और अगर आप इस तरह से नहीं समझ पा रहे, इफ़ यू नॉट एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड इट लाइक दिस, यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड इट इन अ वे दैट थिंक ऑफ ओशन. द ओशन इज चित्त, एंड व्हाट इज दिस ओशन? ओशन ऑफ data of consciousness in a way. And इस ocean के ऊपर जो waves हैं, lots of waves that come on the ocean, these are all the vruttis, and these are all what? These are all instincts, impulses, desires, processes, right? And in fact our physiology has distinguished these vruttis also in multiple subparts. The certain vruttis are direct perception. What is direct perception? This is a coconut tree, I'm seeing it right now, I'm able to feel it, touch it right now. This is direct perception, right? Inference क्या है? While I see the coconut tree and then I look at a photograph where the coconut tree seems to be a plant, and then the inference comes in that the photograph must be 5-year-old. जब फोटोग्राफ देख के मैं देखता हूँ अरे इसमें ये कोकोनट ट्री तो वही लग रहा है लेकिन बहुत छोटा लग रहा है, ये तो प्लांट है, तब मैं इमीडिएटली एक इन्फरेंस करता हूँ कि अच्छा ये फोटोग्राफ शायद 4 साल पुराना होगा. दिस इन्फरेंस इज अगेन अ वृत्ति. इमेजिनेशन, काश ऐसे मैंने किया होता, इफ ओनली आई कुड डू दिस, वुड लव टू डू दिस इन फ्यूचर, all that happens. The imagination is again one type of vrutti. Memory is one type of vrutti. Smruti, because why? You either whatever you record and register, you want to save it in the memory, or you want to retrieve the memory. 3 days earlier somebody called you by some wrong name and you heard about it and you kind of remember it 3 days later. You are accessing the memory. So the vrutti, memory is also a process, is also a vrutti, and sleep of course is a process and a vrutti, राइट. सो ये एक बार आप समझ लें कि एक्सटर्नल ऑब्जेक्ट जो है ये हम सेंसरी ऑर्गन से हमें अवेयरनेस में हम आते हैं. दिस अवेयरनेस इज देन एनालाइज्ड बाय द इंटेलेक्ट. दिस इंटेलेक्ट देन associates it with us via the ahamkara and the ego, and we get to know what to do about it, what it means to us, that comes from ahamkara and ego. And then based on that, certain impulses and instincts and desires come in, certain choices come to us, and we take action accordingly, right? Either as an auto response or consciously we take an action. Why is this so important for us to know? It is so important for us to know because this is happening in our mind and body 24/7. 24/7. This is constantly active. Just think about your own one day of life. 24 hours तक आपने क्या किया है? What have you done? Either you have slept, and the point of time that you're woken up, either you're on Netflix or you're on YouTube or you're on your mobile phone, you're talking to somebody, you're working on something, you're listening to a song, or you're probably worried about the past, you're angry about the past, or you're anxious about the future. You're constantly having one or other impulse, instinct, activity driving your action. Suddenly you want to eat something, suddenly you want to take a rest, suddenly you want to go for a sleep, suddenly you want to talk to somebody, suddenly you feel like shouting at someone, whatever. You're constantly engaged. Why? Because of the senses, because of the manas, the buddhi, the ego, the chitta, and the vruttis that come on the chitta. What happens because of it? Just take one more consideration. If the supreme consciousness, the God, the Brahman, the Paramatma, whoever, whatever you would want to call it, if that's a sun, let's assume that's a sun, and the ocean of chitta, right, is where the sun gets reflected, and the reflection is the soul. Just understand this, right? We talked about the balloon and the bulb. हमने गुब्बारों की बात की, हमने विद्युत उपकरणों की बात की. उसी को मद्देनजर रखते हुए आप इसकी तरफ देखिए. Just think of it and look at and understand this. Imagine that the chitta is an ocean in which the supreme consciousness, the sun of supreme consciousness, is getting reflected as the soul. Now what happens? There are two possibilities. One, that the ocean is extremely turbulent. There are just waves and waves on the ocean. बस उसमें बस waves ही waves है उस समंदर में. तो वो जो रिफ्लेक्शन है सूरज का, वो ठीक से नहीं दिखेगा. लेकिन अगर ओशन जो है वो शांत है, if the ocean is calm and quiet and not many waves on the ocean, then you will be able to see the sun absolutely clearly. Very simple, logical, right? The whole concept behind this is that if you want to be aware of the supreme consciousness, if you want to kind of feel a connect to the supreme consciousness, that connect will happen only and only when the chitta is silent, is calm and quiet. If the chitta is calm and quiet, if there are not too many vruttis and impulses and instincts coming in, and they come in only if you want them to come, if you kind of give them due notice, अगर आप उनको कंट्रोल कर रहे हैं और आप इन वृत्तियों को, इन इंस्टिंक्ट्स को, इन डिज़ायर्स को कंसिडर कर रहे हैं कि ध्यान देना है कि नहीं देना है, तब ये समुद्र काफ़ी हद तक शांत रहेगा. और जब वो शांत रहेगा तब आपको आपके अंदर के इस डिविनिटी की पहचान होगी. यू विल प्रॉब्ली देन अंडरस्टैंड और रियलाइज और फील अ कनेक्ट टू द सुप्रीम कॉन्शियसनेस विच इज़ नथिंग बट रिफ्लेक्टिंग एज योर सोल. You will be able to feel that connect only when the chitta is silent. And this is exactly the meaning of Patanjali Yoga Sutra's most famous shlok, which is Yoga Chitta Vrutti Nirodha. Patanjali Yoga के अनुसार, if you want to realize the supreme consciousness, if you want to feel that connect, अगर आप उस ब्रह्मन को पहचानना चाहते हैं, उस सुप्रीम कॉन्शियसनेस के साथ कनेक्ट फील करना चाहते हैं, तो आपको इस चित्त में उठने वाली जो वृत्तियां हैं उनको निरोध करना पड़ेगा. इट डजंट से डिस्ट्रॉय, बिकॉज इट नेवर हैपन्स. जब तक आप जीवित है, टिल द टाइम दैट यू आर अलाइव, योर ब्रेन विल बी एक्टिव, एंड द फैक्ट दैट योर ब्रेन विल बी एक्टिव मीन्स दैट देयर विल बी थॉट्स कमिंग इन, देयर विल बी इंस्टिंक्ट्स, देयर विल बी डिजायर्स, देयर विल बी impulses. Now it's up to you to decide whether you want to give them due consideration or not. आपके ऊपर है. जो आने वाली उठने वाली impulses हैं, desires हैं, उनको आपको उसके ऊपर ध्यान देना है कि नहीं देना है. अगर आप ध्यान दोगे तो ये आती रहेंगी. अगर आप ध्यान देना बंद करोगे और बस उन्हीं के ऊपर ध्यान दोगे जो महत्व की हैं, if you only focus on the impulses that are important and let go of the others, automatically you will see that the chitta is calm and quiet, and because of that then you will be able to feel the connect to the supreme consciousness. This is nothing but the summary of Patanjali Yoga Sutra. All this is very important for us to understand the Bhagavad Gita, and that's why the initial connect. Now let's get into the chapter 1. What happens during the chapter 1? Before that, I would want you to just for a minute think that you are Duryodhana. Okay, and for that then I'll be talking as if I am Duryodhana. एक मिनट के लिए आप ये सोचिए कि आप दुर्योधन हैं, और उसके लिए मैं अभी अगले कुछ एक मिनट के लिए इस तरह से बात करूँगा कि मैं दुर्योधन हूँ. और अगर मैं ऐसे, वाई? बिकॉज एम्पैथी इज़ एब्सोल्युटली क्रिटिकल. विदाउट एम्पैथी आप किसी के बारे में भी नहीं समझ सकते. अगर आपको समझना है, जानना है, पहचानना है कि सामने वाले ने कोई चीज़ क्यों की, आपके साथ अगर गलत भी किया तो क्यों गलत किया होगा. इफ़ समबडी हैज़ रॉन्ग्ड यू ऑल्सो, यू वुड वांट टू अंडरस्टैंड वेयर एंड वाई ही वुड हैव डन इट, वेयर डिड ही कम फ्रॉम, ही और शी कम फ्रॉम, एंड वाई डिड ही और शी डू व्हाट ही और शी डिड. फॉर दैट एम्पैथी इज़ क्रिटिकल. तो एक मिनट के लिए अगर हम सोचें कि हम दुर्योधन हैं, then what do we see? I am Duryodhana. I was born in a royal family where my father Dhritarashtra was the reigning king. धृतराष्ट्र मेरे पिताजी ये राजा हैं हस्तिनापुर के और मैं उनका श्रेष्ठ पुत्र. आई एम द एल्डेस्ट सन ऑफ द रेनिंग किंग धृतराष्ट्र एंड आई एम द एल्डेस्ट ऑफ my 99 other younger brothers, and we are called Kauravas, and I am being raised as a prince. I am going to be the next king of Hastinapur, है ना. मैं राजा होने वाला हूँ और मैं राजपुत्र हूँ. इसी तरह से मेरा अपब्रिंगिंग हो रहा है. एंड सडनली आई सी माई आंट कमिंग बैक हु हैड लेफ्ट अस लॉन्ग टाइम बैक. माई अंकल पांडु हु वॉज अ किंग अर्लियर, ही लेफ्ट हिज थ्रोन and along with him went his queens Kunti and Madri. They left the kingdom and then they passed over the kingdom to my father Dhritarashtra. Suddenly Kunti, my aunt, comes back and she says that Pandu, my uncle, has died. And further she says that my sons, 5 of my sons, these are all Panduputras. 3 of my sons and 2 of the sons of Madri, overall 5 Pandavas, these are all Panduputras. एंड इट इज़ इम्पॉसिबल. ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता कि जो कुंती माँ बोल रही है वो सच हो कि ये पांडु पुत्र है. क्यों? क्योंकि पांडु को तो शाप मिला था. माई अंकल वॉज कर्स्ड दैट द मोमेंट ही वॉन्ट्स टू हैव अ प्रोजेनी, द मोमेंट ही ट्राइज टू हैव सेक्स विथ एनीवन, ही विल डाई. तो वो जब उनको पुत्र हो ही नहीं सकता तो ये उसके पुत्र कैसे हो गए, मेरे चाचा के पुत्र कैसे हो गए. आई कांट अंडरस्टैंड हाउ दीज 5 पांडवास कैन बी माई अंकल्स सन्स. एंड कुंती माँ क्या कह रही है कि उनको ब्लेसिंग मिला था. एंड आई एम बीइंग टोल्ड दैट कुंती वॉज ब्लेस्ड एंड इट वॉज टोल्ड दैट शी कुड इन्वोक एनी गॉड ऑफ अ चॉइस एंड द गॉड वुड देन गिव हर अ सन. And that Pandu, the king, the earlier king, allowed Kunti to have these sons and Madri to have 2 sons using this blessing. But this is all that Kunti is to say, and we all have to believe her. There is no way to prove it. सच झूठ पहचानना बहुत ही मुश्किल है. मैं किसी भी तरीके से ये सच झूठ की जानकारी नहीं ले सकता कि ऐसा सच में हुआ था कि नहीं हुआ था. मुझे कुंती माँ की बातों को सच मानना पड़ेगा. और ऊपर से मुझे ये कहा जा रहा है कि युधिष्ठिर मेरे से भी बड़े हैं. आई एम बीइंग टोल्ड दैट युधिष्ठिर इज द एल्डर टू मी. एंड देन इट सीम्स दैट भीष्मा इज फॉन्ड ऑफ अर्जुना. ऐसा लगता है कि भीष्म को तो अर्जुन बड़ा प्यारा लगता है. युधिष्ठिर की सब तारीफ करे. एवरीबडी इज प्रेजिंग युधिष्ठिर, नो बडी इज प्रेजिंग मी. ये गुस्से के साथ मैं बड़ा हो रहा हूँ. इस आई एम ग्रोइंग विद दिस एंगर इन माई माइंड, in my soul, that I am being neglected and I am the reigning king's son, the eldest son. I am the prince. I am the next king, but nobody is confirming that anymore. Nobody is telling me that anymore. Pretty much people are keeping it open that Yudhishthira could be the king or Duryodhana could be the king. But why is even Yudhishthira being considered for that? ऐसा क्यों उनको कहा जा रहा है? उनको मेरे से भी बड़ा क्यों माना जा रहा है? उनको मेरे से भी ज़्यादा अच्छे से क्यों उनसे पेश आया जा रहा है? Why is it that they are that everybody is fond of them and not me? Nobody is praising me anymore. With this anger, Duryodhana has grown, and all that anger and that discrimination seemingly has brought this family to this war, when the Bhagavad Gita starts. The first slok says that Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yutsava Mamakaha Pandava Chaiva Kim Kurvata Sanjaya, which translates to Sanjaya, who's the assistant to the king Dhritarashtra, the blind king Dhritarashtra. Sanjaya has been blessed, with a power that just like a television set, he'll be able to watch this Kurukshetra war, this Mahabharat war remotely and tell Dhritarashtra what's happening on the ground. And therefore Dhritarashtra then tells Sanjaya, "Oh Sanjaya, please tell me on the Kurukshetra what is happening between Pandavas and my sons Kauravas." मुझे बताओ कि ये कुरुक्षेत्र में हो क्या रहा है, पांडव और कौरव कर क्या रहे हैं. इस श्लोक से, with this verse starts the Bhagavad Gita. And at the start, I'll be skipping a lot of shlokas because I'll just pick and choose the best ones, the most important ones, but I'll give you the entire gist of what's happening. The initial chapter 1 talks about how Duryodhana approaches Drona and tells him, "Oh Drona, look at how big and massive is the army formed by your Pandavas." Right? He's rebuking Drona, he's instigating Drona. वो चावी मार रहा है द्रोण को, कहते हुए कि देखो आपके पांडवों ने कितनी बड़ी सेना तैयार करके आपके सामने खड़ी की है, एंड हु इज कंट्रोलिंग इट, हु इज कमांडरिंग, हु इज द कमांडर ऑफ इट, वो द्रुपद पुत्र है, Drushtadhyumna, Drupad Putra. Why Drupad is being highlighted? It is being highlighted because Drupad is Drona's arch enemy. There's a backstory to it. If you are interested, you can read Mahabharata about it. But Drupad is from the Pandavas side. Is fighting from the Pandavas side, and Drupad is Drona's arch enemy. And Drupad's son, who's actually been taught by Drona. Drupad's son is also Drona's disciple, and he is the one who's commanding the Pandavas army. So Duryodhana is now trying to kind of instigate and rebuke Drona that यही तो पांडव थे ना जिनकी आपने तारीफ की, यही तो पांडव थे ना, वो देखो आपके सामने खड़े हैं आपसे युद्ध करने के लिए. These were the Pandavas that you were so fond of. Those are the ones that are standing against you, ready to fight you and kill you. That is what Duryodhana is trying to say. And then he's saying that, and then he goes on to say, look at this warrior from Pandava, that warrior from Brahmana. These are all Atirati Maharaj. These are excellent warriors. These are the best of the warriors. And how big is their army and who all are there? He names the biggest commanders of the army and all that. And then he goes on to say, by the way, now also look at our army. That even we have you, we have Drona, Acharya Drona, you, we have Bhishma, we have Karna, we have Dushasan and other 99 of my Kaurav brothers. I have me, myself in this army, and I have so many others. And he names all the big warriors from his side. And he further says that, अब यहाँ पे, see, this is why translation is so tricky. The word in the slok is aparyaptam, right? When the Duryodhana actually says that, while the army, our army commanded by Bhishma is aparyaptam, is unlimited, the army of Pandavas commanded by, marshaled by Bhima is limited. Many, like 90% of the translators translate it as Duryodhana saying that our army is so small, and look at Pandavas, led by Bhim, is so strong and big, right? Which is very wrong. I feel it is wrong, because aparyaptam is a word that can be taken up both ways. Paryaptam means enough, and means not enough. Aparyaptam means not enough. That is one way of translating it. The other way of translating is paryaptam means limited, and aparyaptam means unlimited. And these are two exactly opposite meanings. Aparyaptam, unlimited, is opposite of aparyaptam, not enough. Right? Now, which one is the right meaning? And for that, you would have to first understand Mahabharata, and that is why I actually took you through the empathic aspect of Duryodhana. Duryodhana has been angry all this while, and is absolutely clear about this war. He wants to fight, he wants to kill Pandavas, and he wants to win the kingdom for sure, right? He's absolutely clear about it, and he's so proud about it that, now this war is happening and let's just win. If that's the sentiment that Duryodhana has, why would he say that, hey, I'm scared and I have such a small army, and look at Pandavas, they have big army? He's rather saying that, hey, under Bhishma we have such a huge army, unlimited army, and look at Pandavas, they have under Bhim just a small army, we can win, right? So he's actually being extremely confident about it. And what proves this point, क्या prove करता है कि जो translation मैं बता रहा हूँ वो सही है, that is the next part, which is, therefore all of you taking your places firmly in your respective divisions, guard Bhishma at all costs. He's saying that the whole difference in a way is because of Bhishma. It's because of Bhishma that our army is strong and unlimited and huge and undefeatable. It is because of Bhishma. The difference is Bhishma. On their side it is being marshaled by Bhim, whereas on our side it is being marshaled by Bhishma. The difference is because of Bhishma. So you please protect Bhishma in this war. If you protect Bhishma, there is no way we can lose. That's what Duryodhana is saying. And then right after that, Bhishma, after hearing this, blows his conch shell. उस वक्त में युद्ध के वक्त युद्ध घोषणा करने के लिए अपने अपने शंखों को फूंकना और उसका उद्घोष करना, ये एक सिंबल माना जाता था. तो उस टाइम पे वो सारे ही वॉरियर्स अपने अपने शंख फूंक के उद्घोष कर रहे हैं कि वी आर रेडी फॉर द वॉर. एंड क्लियरली Duryodhana is delighted and happy. So on one side you have Kauravas, where Duryodhana is extremely clear that he wants this war. He's extremely clear that he's on the right side. He wants to win this war. He wants to kill Pandavas, and he has no doubt whatsoever. On the other side, let's see what's happening. On the other side, Arjuna tells कृष्णा, ओ कृष्णा प्लीज़ टेक मी टू द सेंटर ऑफ द कुरुक्षेत्र, मुझे कुरुक्षेत्र के बीच में लेके जाओ और मुझे ताकि देखने को मिले कि ये सामने जो खड़े हुए हैं अलग अलग अति रति महारथी कौरवों की तरफ से, वो कौन है और कौन है जो ये युद्ध में उत्सुक हैं. लेट मी सी हु ऑल आर स्टैंडिंग इन फ्रंट ऑफ मी, हु आर रेडी टू फाइट this war and who want to kill me and kill the Pandavas and win this war. Let me see who have gathered. On top of it, see, just look at the words. It's very important to understand the sentiment of the person who's saying it, because it's going to be critical. He's saying ranasam udyame, enterprise of war, right? It's a very critical thing, क्योंकि वो कह रहा है कि ये जो भी कोई युद्ध है वो कौन करने को तैयार है, इसको देखते हैं. ये जो भी कोई युद्ध है, ये जो द एंटरप्राइज ऑफ वॉर, इज नॉट सेइंग लेट मी सी हु इज रेडी टू फाइट द वॉर, ही इज सेइंग लेट मी सी हु इज रेडी टू हैव द फाइट इन दिस एंटरप्राइज ऑफ वॉर. सी दिस इंडिकेट्स डिस्टेंस इन सम वे. यहाँ अभी भी लगता है कि अर्जुन इस काम में पूरी तरह से अपने आप को झोंक नहीं चुका है. सी इफ़ यू आर नॉट 100% कन्विंस्ड और कीन और इंटेंट ऑन द वर्क, व्हाट डू. आप अगर किसी काम के लिए पूरी तरह से 100% या तो रेडी नहीं है, इंटरेस्टेड नहीं है, तो आप चलो जो भी कोई काम है कर लेते हैं, देख लेते हैं, ख़त्म कर लेते हैं. दिस इज हाउ यू डू इट. यू से कि वॉट एवर इज दैट एंटरप्राइज, लेट्स जस्ट फिनिश इट, लेट्स जस्ट गेट दिस डन. दैट इज हाउ यू टॉक अबाउट इट. दैट इज हाउ अर्जुन इज टॉकिंग अबाउट इट. लेट्स जस्ट सी हु इज दिस, who are these people who are ready to fight in this enterprise of war. So there seems to be a distance. He's not so into the war at this moment, right? That seems to be coming in from that language. On top of it, that he's saying that all the people who are gathered in front of me, they are there in order to please the evil minded son of Dhritarashtra. He's not even taking the name of Duryodhana. He's so angry. He's not even taking the name. दुर्योधन का नाम भी नहीं ले रखा है. वो कहते हैं धृतराष्ट्र पुत्र. उस धृतराष्ट्र पुत्र के दिमाग में जो ईविल है, जो पाप है, उस दुर्योधन को खुश करने के लिए जो सामने खड़े हैं, वो कौन है, मैं देखना चाहता हूँ. सो ही सेइंग दैट लेट मी सी हु आर देयर हु आर रेडी टू फाइट इन ऑर्डर टू प्लीज दुर्योधना. सो ही स्टिल नॉट एक्सेप्टेड द फैक्ट दैट द पीपल हु आर स्टैंडिंग इन फ्रंट ऑफ देम आर स्टैंडिंग ऑन देयर पॉसिबली ऑन देयर ओन अकॉर्ड. He's just still thinking that they're standing there because they want to please Duryodhana, or because of Duryodhana that they're standing there, not because they want to be there. And that still indicates distance, that he's probably not accepted the reality as is. And therefore what happens, the moment he sees these people, he's saying that, oh, my limbs are weakened, my mouth gets parched, my body trembles, my hairs stand, मेरे रोंगटे खड़े हो गए, मैं थर थर काँप रहा हूँ, मेरे हाथ काँप रहे हैं, मेरे हाथ से मेरा गांडीव छूट रहा है, the bow and arrow in my hand, it is slipping from my hands and I'm not able to fight and I don't want to fight. मैं लड़ना नहीं चाहता हूँ. This is what he's saying suddenly out of a blue. And just see, right? Arjuna goes on and on for the next 40-47 verses, 40-47 statements. He goes and keeps on talking. वो बोलते जा रहा है, बोलते अगले 40-47 verses तक वो बोलते जा रहा है, लेकिन कृष्णा एक आवाज़ भी नहीं कर रहे हैं. Krishna अभी भी, see, it's natural, right? If you and me were in that war, and if Arjuna had come to us and told us that Ashutosh, I don't want to fight this war, suddenly out of the blue, I would have said, Arjuna पागल हो गया क्या? Just stand up and fight. This is what I would have told suddenly, But Krishna is genuinely a great person, and he recognizes. What does he recognize? This is something very important, a point that I'm going to make. Many of the times, people who come to us for help, opening up about their challenges, about their problems, जब अपने issues लेके कोई अपने पास आता है, तो बहुत बार सबसे ज़्यादा important चीज़ उनके लिए वो होता है कि वो उनको सुना जाए. They want to be heard. That is the first thing that they want to do. They want to be heard more than getting the solution for the problem. They first want to just be heard. वो पहले अपने आप को पूरी तरह से अपना मन हल्का करना चाहते हैं. They want to just tell what they feel. They don't want the answers right away. And that is when they'll feel. See, I'll give you an example. अगर आप, there are two doctors, okay, doctor 1 and doctor 2. If you go to a doctor 1 and you tell him what problem you have, and then he asks 1 or 2 questions, he checks you, with the stethoscope, he checks your tongue, your eyes and whatnot, and he says, okay, I understood what you have, just take these 2 medicines and 1 blue and 1 red, and you'll be okay in the next 3 days. That's it. And then what suddenly you do? You said, no, doctor, but I also have this, I also have that, I also, and then the doctor said, I understood, don't worry about it, don't tell me anything else, I'm clear about what you have, just take these medicines and you'll be okay, right? एक डॉक्टर है जो कह रहा है कि फटाफट आपको चेक करके आपको 1-2 सवाल करके आपको दवाई दे रहा है, और जब आप कहते हैं कि नहीं डॉक्टर मेरे को ये भी हुआ है वो भी हुआ है, आपको सुने बिना वो बोल रहा है कि नहीं मैं समझ गया आपको क्या हुआ है, ये दवाई लो आप ठीक हो जाओगे. राइट। और दूसरा जो डॉक्टर है वो आपको, आप जैसे ही दवाखाने में घुसते हैं, द मोमेंट यू गेट इन द क्लिनिक, द सेकंड डॉक्टर सेज, oh, the last time we met, you were looking so bright and good, and suddenly you seem so pale. What happened to you? Are you okay? Of course, the other person is not okay. That's why he's in the clinic, right? That's why you are in the clinic. If you are absolutely fine, why would you go and meet the doctor? You know, so if you're not feeling good, that's why you're getting there. But the doctor is using this because he wants you to feel that yes, you're here to be taken care of, that yes, you will be heard. Then he asks you all different questions, you tell him all that, he silently listens to you. आपकी पूरी बात शांति से वो सुन लेगा, आप जो भी कुछ बोल रहे हैं, मेरे का ये हो रहा है, मेरे को वो हो रहा है, मेरे को ऐसा लग रहा है, मेरे को वैसा लग रहा है, वो सारी चीज़ें सुन रहा है। और ऊपर से और दो तीन सवाल, ऐसा भी हो रहा है, ओहो वैसे भी, ओह दिस ऑल्सो, दैट्स व्हाट्स ऑल हैपनिंग टू यू, ओ गॉड आई एम रियली सॉरी, सॉरी टू नो। एंड देन अगेन ही डज ऑल द चेक्स एंड गिव्स यू वन ब्लू मेडिसिन, वन रेड मेडिसिन, एग्जैक्टली द सेम मेडिसिन इज डॉक्टर वन। Now if somebody asks you, अब कोई आपको पूछता है who is the better doctor, which one will you tell? आप क्या बोलोगे, डॉक्टर वन अच्छा है कि डॉक्टर टू अच्छा है? आई एम 99% श्योर यू आर गोइंग टू से डॉक्टर टू वॉज बेटर. वाई? बिकॉज यू वर हर्ड. द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इज बिकॉज यू फेल दैट यू वर हर्ड. And that's extremely important thing. That's one lesson that you want to learn from this, that hey, somebody comes to you with their challenges and problems. You want to first do one thing: patiently listen to them, hear them out, let them tell you all the entire story before you start telling them what to do and what not to do. That's extremely important. Why it is also important, beyond that they would want to be heard, and it's also important because lot of times the problems that one states and the actual problem are two different things. बहुत बार ऐसा होता है कि जो प्रॉब्लम हम कहते हैं, जो हमको लगता है, वो एक्चुअल प्रॉब्लम होता ही नहीं है, कुछ और ही प्रॉब्लम होता है. Lot of times when we say we don't want to work for this company, it's actually not the company that's wrong. It's probably our boss which is wrong. It's probably our colleagues which are wrong. It's probably the growth prospect that is problem. The client, the project that we are in, which is a problem, right? But how we say it to the people that we are close to, we say that hey, I'm not happy with the company. It could be any other reason, but not the company being the problem. It could be the salary the problem, boss the problem, colleagues the problem, project the problem, and whatnot. It could be distance to commute could be the problem, whatever. But the way you say it is the company is the problem. And if suddenly the other person says, okay, then change the company, what will happen? Neither you got the solution nor you were hurt, right? So it's extremely important. First lesson to learn from this is that please, if somebody comes to you with a challenge, hear them out. And this is what Sri Krishna is doing. Arjun goes on and on. Arjun बस बोलते जा रहा है, वो बोल रहा है कि अगर ये युद्ध मैं करूँ, मैं समझ रहा हूँ, आई एम अंडरस्टैंडिंग दैट इफ आई फाइट दिस वॉर, व्हाट विल हैपन? देयर विल बी सो मच ऑफ डिस्ट्रक्शन, सो मेनी पीपल विल डाई, एंड इफ द men die, the women and the children will be orphans, and they'll have nobody to direct them, and if they don't have any direction, then the entire race and the kingdom will be destructed, राइट. पूरा का पूरा जो हमारे कुल है वो अधोगति में जाएगा, क्योंकि जब इतने सारे पुरुषार्थ का नाश होगा, इतने सारे क्षात्र तेज का जब नाश होगा, तो जो महिलाएं हैं, जो बच्चे हैं, उनको दिशा दिखाने वाला कोई नहीं बचेगा, और जब उनको कोई दिशा नहीं दिखाएगा तो हमारे कुल और हमारे किंगडम का तो नाश होना तय है. एंड व्हेन आई नो इट, जब मैं समझ पा रहा हूँ, व्हेन आई एम एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस, माई ब्रदर्स मे नॉट बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस, Kaurav may not be able to understand this, but as a Pandav I understand this, then why should I fight? जब मैं समझ पा रहा हूँ, मैं समझदार हूँ, वो समझदार नहीं है, बट मैं समझदार हूँ, तो मैं युद्ध क्यों करूँ? Why should I do it? ये सब वो, like Arjun goes on and on and on, but Krishna doesn't say a word, right? And then Arjun says that मैं मर जाऊँ तो भी चलेगा, even if I'm killed, that's fine. If they kill me, it's fine, but I don't want to kill them and win this war. That's not something I would want. And after saying, oh, and then he says that I'm afraid that if I fight this war, then I'll commit a sin. मैं पाप करूँगा, अगर ये जानते हुए सब कुछ भी अगर मैं युद्ध करूँ तो मैं पाप करूँगा, और मैं पाप नहीं करना चाहता. And after saying all of this, he just frustrated, tired, he just keeps his weapon away and just sits down. Even at this point, he's not yet said what? He's not said, oh Krishna, help me. He's not yet said it. अभी तक वो ये नहीं कह रहा है कृष्णा मेरी मदद करो. इसीलिए व्हेन द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट इज कृष्णा डजंट ऑफर एनी हेल्प, कृष्णा इज नॉट गिविंग एनी सॉल्यूशन, बट व्हाट डज कृष्णा डू? कृष्णा पोक्स हिम फर्दर, कृष्णा इंस्टिगेट्स हिम फर्दर. कृष्णा चावी मारता है अर्जुन को और कहता है कि तुम क्या पागलपंती की बात कर रहे हो, तुम ये डिस्पॉन्डेंसी की बात, व्हाट डिस्पॉन्डेंसी, हाउ दिस डिस्पॉन्डेंसी कम्स टू यू एट दिस टाइम ऑफ क्राइसिस, इट्स डिस्ग्रेसफुल ऑफ यू. इट डजेंट फिट यू। ये तुम्हारे बिल्कुल लायक चीज़ नहीं है जो तुम कर रहे हो। और किस तरह की बात कर रहे हो इस समय पे, ऐसे समय पे जबकि हमको अब युद्ध करना है। एंड ऑन टॉप ऑफ इट इज दैट यू आर एक्टिंग लाइक एन इम्पोर्टेंट। तुम मर्द बनो, तुम किसी महिला की तरह बात कर रहे हो, तुम क्या कर रहे हो? एंड हु इज सेइंग दिस टू? इज सेइंग दिस टू द बिगेस्ट वॉरियर ऑफ ऑल टाइम्स, द बिगेस्ट आर्चर ऑफ दैट टाइम, right? So he's invoking his purushartha, he's instigating him, he's pinching him, वो चावी मार रहा है। क्यों? Why is Krishna doing it? So that because he knows that even now at this stage Arjuna is still not clear what his problem is, and on top of it he still not said Arjuna, Krishna help me. Why is it important? Because lot of times see, वो कहते हैं ना कि जब तक पानी का ग्लास भरा है उसमें और पानी नहीं डाल पाएंगे, जब खाली होगा तभी पानी डाल पाएंगे। यू नो, यू कैन फिल इन एन एम्प्टी ग्लास बट यू कैन फिल इन अ फुल ग्लास विच इज़ फुल, राइट? सो यू वांट टू फर्स्ट एम्प्टी द माइंड ऑफ द लिसनर। जब तक सामने वाला सुनने के लिए तैयार नहीं है तब तक उसको बोल के फ़ायदा नहीं है। और वो कब वो सुनने के लिए तैयार होगा? जब वो गुस्सा नहीं होगा, जब उसका गुस्सा ख़त्म हो गया होगा, उसका when the other person's frustration is out, anger is out, and he's in the mindset to listen, that is when you can tell him 2 or 3 good things. But till then you got to just ensure that he's opening up, he's telling everything, right? And the moment Krishna instigates Arjuna, what happens? Arjuna immediately says, how can I kill Bhishma and Drona who are respected to me? Even though they may have taken the side of that evil Duryodhana, even though they may have taken that decision, despite that they're still most respected for me, and how can I kill them? And I don't know my duty. I don't know whether I'm doing what I'm doing is right or wrong. And hence, O Krishna, now he says, O Krishna, help me. You are my teacher, I am your disciple, please help me. अब जाके अर्जुन कह रहा है कि ओ कृष्णा मेरी मदद करो, आप मेरे गुरु हो, मैं आपका शिष्य हूँ, अब मुझे मेरी राह दिखाओ, मैं नहीं समझ पा रहा हूँ सही क्या है गलत क्या है, मेरी ड्यूटी मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रही है, आप मुझे बताओ सच क्या है झूठ क्या है। देन व्हाट डू वी अंडरस्टैंड सो फार फ्रॉम इट? कृष्णा को क्या समझ में आ रहा है, हमको क्या समझ में आ रहा है? व्हाट डू वी अंडरस्टैंड फ्रॉम इट सो फार? You know, Arjuna's from the conversation chapter 1 and the start of chapter 2, we understand that Arjuna has 3 distinct problems. One, he doesn't know how can he kill, that is how can he kill Drona, Bhishma and all the other respected people? How can he kill? That's one problem. Second is he feels that he'll commit a sin. He doesn't know what is right and wrong. He's probably confused about it. That's one problem. And the third problem is that he's perplexed about his duty. He doesn't know what his duty is all about. He doesn't understand that anymore. अपने धर्म की अभी उसको समझ नहीं रही है और वो चाहता है कि कोई उसको समझाए. These are the 3 major problems. That is what we understand. Now let's see how Krishna kind of makes Arjuna understand all of these things, and it helps Arjuna get the answers for the first thing. So what's the first question? The first question is, how can I kill? How can I kill? अब कृष्ण क्या उसको बता रहा है? कृष्ण बता रहा है कि पर तू किसको मार रहे हो? Now please refer to what I explained earlier, the concept of body, soul and Paramatman, body, soul and superconsciousness. Think about the balloons, think about the electricity and the bulb, that ultimately all that we are the supreme consciousness. We have taken a form of the soul because of the body that we are in, but ultimately we are all that a part of that supreme consciousness. That's one way of looking at our physiology as per the Sankhya Yoga, as per the Yoga Shastras. That's one way of looking at it. It is not the only way and it may not be the truth, but that is one way of looking at it. And what Krishna is saying, that if you believe in that way, if you believe that yes, we are a body with a soul which is nothing but a reflection of the supreme consciousness, and that we are all, the supreme consciousness is all pervading, it exists everywhere, and we just, when it comes into our body, we take this form, and that's when we recognize it as soul, and it's temporary. When we die, we go back to the supreme consciousness. If that's what you believe in, Krishna is saying, if this is what you believe in, then anyways you're not going to kill anyone. If you happen to kill Bhishma and Drona, you're going to kill their body, not their soul. The soul is indestructible. The soul can't be put into the fire. The fire is not going to burn the soul. The sword is not going to cut the soul. The soul cannot get drowned in water. So what are you talking about? You cannot destroy the soul. The soul is everlasting. It never was that the soul didn't exist, and it never will be that the soul will stop existing. Because why? Because soul is a part of that supreme consciousness. Just think of it, right? The air in the balloon, was it that the air never existed? The air of course existed earlier. Just that when it became a part of the balloon, it is now termed as the balloon or the air in the balloon. But the moment the balloon is gone, the air go back to the air. So air was always there, air will always be there, just that the air is no more a part of that earlier balloon that it was. Same way, the soul was there, the soul will be there, just that the soul will no more be there in the body when you kill the body. So at max, you are going to kill the body, but not the soul, right? This is what is just rationalizing it for Arjuna. He's saying that you can kill if at max you're going to kill Drona and Bhishma and their bodies, but not their soul. So what are you worried about? You're not going to kill anybody anyways, right? Dehi no asmin yatha dehe kaumaram yonam jara. This one shlok, which basically means that just the way our body when we are born starts growing as a child, as an infant, then we grow into a child, then we grow into our adolescence, then we grow into adults, and then we grow into into elderly people, and then we finally die. We grow old and then we die. So just the way we transition from being an infant from a baby to a child to an adolescence to an adult and to an old individual, the same way we transition into death. It's just a matter of phase and time, right? So the knowledgeable people don't fret about it. They are not worried about it. They are not concerned about it. Because why? The jiva itself, the soul itself is indestructible, and you're not going to kill it even if you were to kill the body. So what are you worried about, right? And then he says, the contact of senses with their objects. Just think about what I explained to you in terms of the manas, the buddhi, all of it. How do we know that the coconut tree exists? Only because our senses happen to fall on it, right? When we happen to look at it, our eyes capture the image of coconut tree, and that brings into our manas. The awareness is then analyzed by the intellect. The intellect is then kind of giving a message to the ahamkara, the ego, and then we say that, hey, this is a coconut tree next to my society and next to my house, and this is how we get to know about it. If I shut my eyes, then I don't know whether the coconut tree exists or not, right? So all that subjective and related and contextual to me is coming into me through my senses, and because of it, it's also temporary, in the sense that if I feel a pain today because I fell down and I have an injury, it's going to last for probably 5 days, 6 days, 10 days, 15 days, 1 month, 2 months, and then I'm going to recover, and I'll never have that pain again, possibly, right? So whatever it is there is temporary. So whatever is temporary anyways, why should I be worried about it? This is what Krishna is telling Arjuna, right? And see, this is one, and okay, further he goes on and all, saying that vasansi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grunati naroprani, which means that just as a man lets go of the old clothes that are now torn and worn out and wears the new clothes, the same way the soul leaves an old dilapidated body and wears a new one. So if you believe in the existence of the soul, that if is a very powerful word there, right, which Krishna definitely uses. So he's not saying that this is how it is. He's not saying that the body exists and the soul exists and the soul is a part of supreme consciousness. It may or it may not. But he's saying that if Arjuna believes in this, then if he were to kill Bhim and Drona, is at best going to kill the body, not the soul. Because what? Because soul, just like us, when we change our old clothes into new ones, the soul, moves out of the old body and gets into new one. So at best, Arjuna is not going to kill anybody, but kill the body, not the soul. So he should not be worried about it. And there's a if that he uses there, right? And how what's the proof that this is what it uses there? He says, or if you hold this self as being constantly born and constantly dying, that means that if you don't believe in the existence of the soul and supreme consciousness and the Paramatman and all that, and if you believe that this body is actually what it is, that when we die, which means that this body is what we are, there is no soul and there is nothing. If this is what you believe, then also this body is anyways temporary. There have been thousands and millions and billions of people who have existed before us, and there will be millions and billions and trillions of people that will exist after us. And we are also going to be here on this universe, this small part of this universe for whatever 50, 60, 70, 80 years that we live. Then again, we are all going to die. We are all going to die. Death is an eventuality. It's not going to be like nobody is going to win death. So whoever you are going to kill today, Bhishma, Drona, Karna, whoever, all these people are going to die anyways. It's that you are going to kind of kill them right now at this point of time. So what are you worried about? Now the moment I say this, right? There is a chance that you will possibly think that, hey, this is such a twisted way, this way anybody can be antagonized against anybody. And Bhagavad Gita can be used to create terrorists, the way possibly Quran is being used to create terrorists, right? Because ultimately Krishna is telling Arjuna that it is okay to kill. That is what is being said in Bhagavad Gita, right? But that is possibly the biggest mistake one would make. Why? And I'll explain. See, the texts have to be interpreted the right way. In Quran, it is said Allah al-Mashriq ul-Maghrib, means Allah is in the east and is in the west. What is so different about that message? It is exactly the same as what's mentioned in the Bible, that God is omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient. What's so different about it? It is exactly the same as what's been said in the Hinduism, which says that ईश्वर कण कण में बसता है. हमारे हिंदुज़म में हम कहते हैं ना ईश्वर कण कण में बसता है, वही तो कुरान में कहा गया कि अल्लाह पूरब में भी है, पश्चिम में भी है, और वही बाइबल में भी कहा गया है कि गॉड इज़ एवरीवेयर, भगवान सब जगह है. तो सारे तो एक ही चीज़ बता रहे हैं. गलत क्या होता है? गलत तब होता है जब कोई उसको इस तरह से इंटरप्रेट करके बताए कि अल्लाह ईस्ट में भी होना चाहिए और वेस्ट में भी होना चाहिए, अल्लाह पूरब में भी होना चाहिए, पश्चिम में भी होना चाहिए. गलती कुरान की नहीं है, गलती बाइबल की नहीं है, गलती भगवद गीता की नहीं है, गलती इसको गलत पढ़ने वाले की है, जानबूझ के इसका गलत मतलब निकाल के गलत मतलब लोगों को बताने वाले की है, और ये गलत मतलब समझ के उसके हिसाब से काम करने वाले लोगों की गलती है. When we don't understand the text in the right way, it is our problem, it's our fault, not the fault of the text in itself. And why am I saying it? Because see, the context is very critical. What is the context? The context is that Arjuna is in between a war. He's actually on the battlefield right now. He's at the center of the battlefield. He's about to fight, and suddenly he's saying, I'm not going to fight. So Krishna's task is to convince him to fight and convince him to destroy. It's like, if our military goes on the borders, on the China border, on the Pakistan border, and he says that नहीं हम किसी को मारेंगे नहीं, आप क्या करोगे उनको? Are you not going to tell him कि no, just go and kill? Why? Because it is your duty. It is your duty to kill. You are an army man. You are a soldier. You have to kill if the need be for the protection of your country. That's your duty. And for the duty, if you have to kill, kill. So what makes it right is the duty aspect of it. That as a soldier, it is okay for you to kill for your duty. The duty is what makes the difference, isn't it? Now here, why is it okay for Arjun to kill is going to come in the subsequent chapters, because Krishna is going to explain to Arjun why it is okay for him to kill Bhishma and Arjun, right? But right now he's just answering one part of the question, which is that it is okay for him to kill, right? Right now Arjuna is not in the right mind. He's trying to rationalize and make it easy for Arjuna to be convinced that hey, it is okay for him to kill. Whether it is right for him to kill or not is going to come. It's going to come later. Right? But right now he's all instigating that hey, it's okay for him to kill. So far so good? So far you have understood it? Now let's move forward. What is biggest inference that we can draw from here? The biggest inference that we can draw from here is, number one, death is an eventuality. Death is an absolute eventuality. हम सब मरने वाले हैं, कभी ना कभी तो मरेंगे. कोई 50 साल, कोई 40 साल, कोई 60 साल, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, पता नहीं, बट कभी ना हम तो मरने वाले हैं. हमारी सबकी जर्नी जो है आगे जाके, वी आर ऑल मूविंग टूवर्ड्स डेथ. डेथ इज गोइंग टू कम टू अस एट सम पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम. some early, for some late, but it's going to come for sure. 100% it's going to come. If you have seen, and if you haven't, you should seen the Steve Jobs video. You can just go to YouTube and type Steve Jobs death, or Steve Jobs speech death. You will get to hear it. It's an absolutely lovely speech. He again points to the same fact, death is an eventuality. And how it helps because you know that you have only limited time on the earth. आपके पास बहुत, और इससे डरने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. डेथ सबको आने वाली है, मौत सबको आने वाली है. यू नीड नॉट फियर डेथ. Everybody is going to die. If somebody else dies, which you say, oh sorry, sorry to know. If somebody closest to you dies, you cry, you're sad about it and all that, but without realizing that you're also going to die. We are all on the path to death. So what's to be afraid of death? And again, if we believe in the existence of the soul, then we are not going to die. We are the eternal soul. We possibly will go into another body, or we'll possibly go back to the supreme consciousness. We are never going to die. But if we believe in the existence of the body, that this is all that it is, there's nothing beyond it, then again, what's so different about us? Even the biggest of the stalwarts have been in this world and died. Napoleon has died, Alexander has died, Hitler has died, Churchill has died, everybody who you know, all the biggest of stalwarts, the biggest of heroes have died, have lived and died, right? But we remember them because they have made their life, whatever, worthwhile, counted for, good or bad, whatever, but they have lived their life in a way where we remember them in some way, right? So the death is going to come to us, we need not be afraid of it, but rather if we remember it every now and then, if we feel that hey, we have only limited time on earth, then what do? Then lot of things become easy. Why? Because certain small things don't matter to us anymore. It doesn't matter to us whether somebody called us by a bad name, for example, whether we have a fight with someone, we want, because for us, right, the relationship would matter more than the right and the wrong, because we're going to live here only for, what if we die next day? Then wouldn't it be bad that we couldn't say sorry to the people who we cared for, that we couldn't tell the people that we love them, that we failed to achieve the ambitions that we wanted to achieve, so time, the eventuality of death gives us that thing that hey, we have only limited time and let's do whatever it takes to achieve now, right? And I'll give an example for me personally as well. When मेरे को जब ambition था, I had an ambition that I wanted to do my MBA, right? For me, so many things were easy. I had that ambition that I want to do an MBA from the tier 1 institute. I didn't want to do an MBA from any random institute. I want to do it from tier 1 institute. I am Ahmedabad, I am Bangalore, or a global institute, right? And right after my engineering college, this was my ambition, this was my focus. What happened? Lot of my friends went to on-site IT, in IT sector. I have been in the IT space for the longest time. यहाँ पे ऑन साइट बहुत जल्दी मिलती है. बहुत सारे मेरे दोस्त यूएस चले गए, यूके चले गए, यूरोप चले गए, पैसे कमाने लग गए, मुझसे ज़्यादा कमाने लग गए. Some of them got promoted, got into some amazing positions, and here I was nowhere pretty much inside, but I was still focused on my MBA. Right, my relatives started telling me that hey, if you continue, like 1 year you're trying, it didn't work, the next year you're trying, it didn't work, third year you're trying, it didn't work, and if you continue doing like this, you're probably delaying your marriage, you'll never get married if that happens, right? And but none of it mattered to me. My girlfriend left me at that time. We broke up because she wanted to kind of move to UK. I didn't want to go to UK, and it's still fine. I was absolutely okay. Of course I was sad, I was going through all the ups and downs, but it didn't stop me or trouble me as much because I had this one ambition. Fine, whatever is happening, I have my goal and ambition to carry on and focus on, and that's all I'll do. And that helped me move my life in the positive way. The moment I became an MBA, the moment I got into IIM Bangalore and got my MBA, that very moment, because I didn't have the next ambition, for that, till the time that I didn't have my next ambition, my life was screwed, because every small thing mattered to me. What my friends called me, whether they chastised me, whether they rebuked me, whether they teased me, whether somebody else got more money than me, somebody got better car than me, somebody got a bigger house than me, what not, right? Every single thing started impacting me, because for me everything else became important. I had nothing else more important in my life, until the time that I got another ambition, that I wanted to start up my own consultancy. I wanted to read all the scriptures and try and explain those in the simplest of manner for the people like you and me. When these things became my ambition, I wanted to write a novel, I wanted to compose songs and record those songs. And when I had these ambitions again in my life, my life became much more pleasant and happy and satisfied, because then small things started not troubling me anymore. So the key thing is here that if one, you want to just go back to the thing I talked about, Chitta and the Vruttis, and the fact that if the Chitta, the ocean of Chitta is calm and quiet, then the sun of supreme consciousness can reflect and we'll be able to realize it. If you go back to that thought as well, all these desires, all these Vruttis, all this negativity, all these impulses and instincts, they come in because you have nothing else for focusing on, right? The moment you have something to focus on, it could be anything. It could be your faith in God, it could be a prayer, it could be meditation that you do every day, or it could be a goal or an ambition that you have in life. It could be an individual that you want to make happy come what may. It could be anything in your life. It could be that ambition that gives you purpose and focus. If you have that focus in your life, with that focus, then your life becomes livable and you can make it worth it. Because why? Because death is going to come to you very soon. Right? If not today, tomorrow, day after, someday the death is going to come and catch you. So it's all here and now, not the past, not the future. right? This is all that we are in right now. And what kind of ambitions to carry? Those should be SMART goals. What does SMART means? Specific, measurable, achievable, related, and timeline based, right? Specific goals. You cannot say that, I'll do something of my life. Something is nothing. You want to be very specific, exactly what you want to achieve out of your life. You want to be able to measure it. You can't just say that I'll be the richest person. How rich? I would be the most knowledgeable person. What defines most knowledgeable? What does that most knowledgeable mean? You should be able to measure it, right? Achievable. You can't just say that, I'll be a prime minister of India when you're not even a part of any political party, when you're not even contributing to one, you're not even getting ready for it, you're not even a member of you're not an MLA, MLC, you're not a, PMC member at best, you're not even, voting in the elections, and you're saying that I'll be the prime minister of India, right? So nobody's saying you can't be one, but then you have to have a goal which is achievable in terms of where you are and what you have, in terms of your potential and your capabilities. And the relatedness, you can't say I'll be prime minister of United Kingdom, because you can't be. You're not even a citizen of United Kingdom, you are an Indian citizen, right? So you want to have a related goal. And then timeline based, you want to say that I will be a prime minister, for example, in 10 years from now, 15 years from now. So if you have such a goal, specific, measurable, achievable, related, timeline based goal, if that goal exists in your life, then your life will be worth it. And then the death will keep you time bound. That will help you be focused. All the small things, the mundane, will stop mattering to you, because that's too small in terms of what big you are aiming for, right? And this is one thing that I can kind of sum up as a learning from Gita so far in the chapter 2. The rest of the chapter will pick up in the next session, but I would want to highlight one aspect of chapter 2, which is the ladder of fall, right? When I say that you have to have a goal, right, and if you don't have a goal, it's going to be a big problem for you. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that because, you see, if you don't have a goal, what happens? Then you are being ruled by your instincts. What does instincts and ruled by instincts mean? It's a beautiful slok, the one that I have highlighted here in terms of the square block. These are two basic verses, which is like one which says that it's a cycle of instincts and desire which leads to your fall. And I'll explain to that in a very simple way. आपको बहुत आसानी से मैं समझाऊंगा इसके बारे में कि क्या होता है जब आपके पास में कोई गोल नहीं है, कोई एम्बिशन नहीं है, तब आपके साथ क्या होता है, आपको आपके इंस्टिंक्ट्स रूल करते हैं. आपको उस मोमेंट पे, उस टाइम पे जो भी कुछ करने को मन करता है आप वो करते हैं. आपको लगता है उठ के अभी मैं नेटफ्लिक्स देखूंगा, मैं मूवी देखूंगा, आप मूवी देखते हैं. इफ़ यू फील दैट नो आई वांट टू नाउ लिसन टू सॉन्ग्स, यू लिसन टू द सॉन्ग्स. नो आई वांट टू प्ले प्ले स्टेशन, यू प्ले प्ले स्टेशन. नो आई वांट टू टॉक टू समबडी, आई टॉक टू समबडी. नो आई डू सम वर्क, वॉट एवर दैट वर्क. ओके, नाउ आई वांट टू फाइट फॉर प्रमोशन, आई ट्राई एंड फाइट फॉर प्रमोशन. वेदर आई एम कैपेबल और नॉट कैपेबल डजंट मैटर. You will have a desire and you'll go for it, right? And this desire will keep on changing. It will never be enough for you, right? And how does that work? I'll tell you. See, the moment you contemplate on an object, the moment you say that I want to, hey, I've seen this object, I want to see it again. The moment you constantly, multiple times, you kind of see something and feel something, hear something, listen to something, that sensing it multiple times creates an attachment. Just think of it. If you hear a song multiple times, you start liking it, isn't it? If you meet somebody multiple times, you start liking the person, more or less. I'm not making a rule out of it, but more or less, the multiple times that you do things, the attachment gets created. It's what it is. It's logical, and that's what happens, right? The more you interact, the more attachment gets created. For example, if you open the fridge 10 times, you will eat more, and that's a research, by the way. Let's say if you were opening the fridge 20 times in a day, and if you eat x calories, if you open the fridge only 2 times instead of 20, you'll probably eat x minus calories. एंड दैट्स अ रिसर्च. ये रिसर्च है. अगर आप रिफ्रिज अगर 50 बार खोलोगे तो आप ज़्यादा खाओगे, अगर 5 बार खोलोगे तो कम खाओगे. क्यों? बिकॉज आप जितनी बार खोलोगे ना, उतनी बार आपको लगेगा थोड़ा और ये भी खा लूँ, वो भी खा लूँ, ये भी खा लेता हूँ, वो भी खा लेता हूँ. यू विल फील मे बी आई ईट दिस, मे बी ओनली जस्ट लिटिल बिट ऑफ दिस, बट आई ईट दिस, राइट? यू फील दैट because the moment you see something, the object of desire, the moment you think about an object of desire, the automatic thing is attachment. The more the attachment, the more the desire, then you now want it, right? The more you desire, there are only two things that will happen: whether you will achieve the desire or you will not, whether you will be able to eat it, you will not, right? But just think of it: you don't have pizza at your home, and you're just running through your website, and suddenly you see a delicious pizza, image of a delicious pizza. Now that creates attachment, and you feel, hey, I want the pizza, right? And because now the desire is there, what happens? Either the shop is on or shop is closed. If the shop delivers to your home, you can actually have it. If it doesn't, then you can't have it. And what happens if you not have it? You're like, shit, why can't I have it? I want it. I want something of that sort, right? See, this is a very simplistic example, but this is a cycle that, with attachment comes desire. With desire, only two possibilities: whether you will get to quench it or not. If you can quench it, you are happy momentarily, but then again it results in some another desire. And if it doesn't happen, then you're angry, right? And what happens when you're angry? When you're angry, you're not thinking straight. Just think of it. The simplest of example I'll give you is somebody extremely important. Maybe your wife, maybe your husband, maybe your boyfriend, maybe your girlfriend, somebody in your family, your friend, somebody was supposed to call you at a particular time. It doesn't call you, right? And when you call them back, they are busy on a call, right? And like, what will happen? Let's say, and you have done it 10 times and nobody is responding. You are now angry. Hey, what happened? First thing is like, are they okay? Are they fine? Right? But they seem to be busy on the call, and they seem to be seeing the WhatsApp message as well. These days WhatsApp is the biggest problem, right? That you can see the seen tick mark. You can see that किसी ने तो मेरा message देखा है, पढ़ा है, right? And that's the biggest challenge, I tell you. So now what hey, they're okay because they're able to see my WhatsApp, but they're not responding. How dare they not respond? How dare they not respond? Right? Now you're angry. Now you're angry because the desire is that you should be able to talk to them, and that's not been met, and you're angry because now you're being ignored, right? How can he ignore me? How can she ignore me? And she's definitely on the WhatsApp. She's able to see she's reading my message but not responding to me. He's reading my message but not responding. How dare you? How can you do that? Right? Now with this anger, what happens? Now you also lose memory. What does that mean? Because now what you'll do is now you'll start associating this with 3 days back also this happened. When I called, probably he didn't just pick up my call. Something is fishy. 10 days back also this happened. Now what you're doing? Now you're playing around with your memory as well. Now with the memory also, you're changing that memory. And if the memory is gone, your intellect is gone. See, all your intellect is based on what memory you have stored. Whatever textbooks you have read, whatever practicals you would have done, whatever teachers have taught you, all of that is in your memory. Right? And that's all the intellect you have to process. For example, if today I was to tell you, give me a concept of quantum theory. Now, if you have read quantum theory, you will be able to explain because from your memory. If you have never read a word about quantum theory, can you actually explain quantum theory concept to me? No, because it's not in your memory, right? So your intellect, your intelligence is directly proportional to the memory that you have. Now, if the memory is itself being screwed, right, that if you're now referring to your memory in the wrong way, then the way you think and analyze is going to be wrong. Then you're going to take incorrect inferences. And if you take incorrect inference, if your intellect is going to give you incorrect insights, then your actions are going to be wrong. And if your actions are wrong, trust me, if your choices are wrong, your life is going to be screwed, right? Because your life is all just a sum up of the choices you have made so far, है ना? आपकी लाइफ तो वही है जो आपकी चॉइसेस अब तक रही हैं. अगर चॉइस अच्छी रही हैं तो लाइफ अच्छी रही है, चॉइसेस बुरी हैं तो लाइफ बुरी है. सो दिस इज द लैडर ऑफ फॉल, क्लासिक लैडर ऑफ फॉल. एंड इसीलिए अगर आपके पास एम्बिशन है तो आप क्या करें? कॉल नहीं उठा रहे, चलो ठीक है, मेरे को पढ़ाई करनी, मैं पढ़ाई करता हूँ. And whenever somebody calls back, they call back. That is not as important to you because you have larger ambition in your life, right? So having a larger ambition is extremely critical, and we'll see how it helped Arjuna, how Krishna used it, for a lot of other things. But so far that's a learning. Now you may say how difficult it is. I don't understand this. The senses and I don't understand that part, right? If that is what is being told to you, maybe there is one simple way as well. Just let's run an experiment. Let's just think that you are in a room. आप एक रूम में बैठे हैं और ऐसे बैठे हैं कि बहुत ही कंफर्टेबल एंड अच्छी जगह पे आप बैठे हैं. ज़्यादा ठंडा नहीं है, ज़्यादा गर्म नहीं है, आपको ज़्यादा भूख नहीं लगी है. You're neither hungry, it's not too cold, not too hot, and you're absolutely fine. You're in an amazing place. Now I'm telling you, for 1 hour you have to be like that. 1 hour you have to be like that. And you'll be like, okay, what's the harm? I can be like that for 1 hour, right? But then I'm going to give you some conditions. 1, You can't talk to anybody, you can't meet anybody, you can't be close to anybody, nothing. No calls, no video calls, no text messages, no WhatsApp, nothing. You can't talk to anybody, you are only on your own, you are alone. That's one condition. Difficult? Slightly difficult. Now I'm telling you, no devices. You can't use phone, you can't use television, no laptop, no desktop, no phone, nothing. No devices, no radio, no physical equipment, no running on the treadmill, no rowing machine, nothing. No Alexa, nothing. No devices. You can't use anything. You can't exercise, you can't do any physical exercise, you can't dance, you can't sing, you can't paint, you can't, no activity, you can't do any activity, okay? And neither can you pray. No meditation, no pranayama, no praying, nothing. Now what do? You'll say that's fine, for 1 hour I'll just sleep. No, you can't sleep as well. आप सो भी नहीं सकते. तो आपको 1 घंटा अभी अपने आप के साथ बिताना है. आप सो नहीं सकते, आप कुछ खा पी नहीं सकते, आप कोई एक्टिविटी नहीं कर सकते, एक्सरसाइज नहीं कर सकते, प्रे नहीं कर सकते, मेडिटेशन नहीं कर सकते, किसी के साथ बात नहीं कर सकते, कोई डिवाइस नहीं यूज़ कर सकते, ना फ़ोन, ना टेलीविज़न, ना रेडियो, ना कुछ. और 1 घंटा अभी आपको आपके अपने साथ बिताना है. यू हैव टू स्पेंड दिस 1 hour विथ योर सेल्फ. हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू are now comfortable spending this 1 hour with yourself, doing nothing but talking to yourself? And how many of you have done this in the last 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year? How many of you have done it? Not many. That is a problem, which means for all this while that we have not even talked for a minute with ourselves, we have been led by the senses. जब जब जो भी मन में आया हमने तब तब वो किया है. इसीलिए हम अपने आप के साथ 1 मिनट पे अब तक बात नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. इफ़ दैट इज़ हाउ वी आर लिविंग राइट नाउ, इज़ दिस लाइफ वर्थ लिविंग? आर वी नॉट द स्लेव्स ऑफ अ सेंसेस? आर वी नॉट बीइंग कंट्रोल्ड बाय आवर बॉडी एंड द माइंड रादर देन वी कंट्रोलिंग आवर बॉडी एंड द माइंड? इट्स अ क्वेश्चन आई लीव यू विथ. इस सवाल के साथ मैं आपको आज छोड़ रहा हूँ. बस जाते जाते एक छोटी सी चीज़ आपको बता के जाऊँगा जो है कार्मिक थियरी के बारे में, क्योंकि ये अगले सेशन में हमारे काम आएंगी कि कर्मा क्या है. जो हम कहते हैं ना कि बचपन से हमें सिखाया जाता है कर्मा पाप पुण्य का हिसाब है, और इसीलिए हम बहुत बार इस तरह से एग्जाम्पल देते हैं कि एक बैलेंस, वेटेड बैलेंस की तरह, एक तरफ पाप, एक तरफ पुण्य, क्रेडिट डेबिट, ट्रायल बैलेंस. Isn't it? Lot of times we think of it this way कि जहाँ पे it seems as if कि अगर हमने 2 पाप किए और 2 पुण्य किए तो नेट 0 हो गया, है ना? बट ऐसा नहीं है. दिस इज़ नॉट हाउ कर्मा वर्क्स. कर्मा इज़ एज सिंपल एज दिस. एवरी एक्शन हैज़ अ कॉन्सिक्वेंस विच यू विल हैव टू ओन, बी रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर एंड बी अकाउंटेबल फॉर, एंड यू विल हैव टू हैव दैट कॉन्सिक्वेंस, एक्सपीरियंस दैट कॉन्सिक्वेंस. देयर इज़ नो रनिंग अवे फ्रॉम इट. If you do a wrong thing, you will bear a wrong outcome. If you do a right thing, you will achieve a right outcome. Both ways, you will get something, right? But then, बहुत बार, lot of time, what happens is the negative and the positive eventually leads you to feel balanced, but it's not zero. And I'll give you an example. Let's say on the same day, your bike is stolen, but you win a lottery of 40,000. Right? The negative outcome was there, the negative consequence was there, but the positive consequence was also there. You winning a lottery, for example. These two things need not necessarily cancel each other, right? But you had one negative and one positive. So life goes on. How does it go on, right? Typically, we are living in a cycle of situations and choices. What does it mean? Just think of it. Today, at this point of time, all of us are having to face the situation of corona. हम सबको इस कोरोना की सिचुएशन में अब रहना पड़ रहा है, जो किसी की भी, हम में से किसी की भी चॉइस नहीं थी. नन ऑफ अस चोज टू काइंड ऑफ फेस कोरोना, in the sense that none of us chose कि कोरोना होना चाहिए, right? It just happened to all of us. A situation happened and we have to face it. We have no control over the situation. कब क्या होगा अपने हाथ में नहीं है. कोरोना हो गया, right? Tomorrow something else will happen. It's not in our control. But now what do we do with this corona is in our hands. अब वर्क फ्रॉम होम के नाम पे या घर पे लॉकडाउन के नाम पे या तो हम पूरा दिन टाइम पास कर सकते हैं. वी कैन जस्ट वेस्ट दिस लॉकडाउन टाइम बाय डूइंग नथिंग, वेस्टिंग आवर टाइम वॉचिंग नेटफ्लिक्स, यूट्यूब एंड वॉट नॉट, TikTok and whatnot, or do something constructive, learn a new skill, upskill ourselves, build our career, train ourselves, get a certification, whatnot. There are 10 other things that we can do. in this lockdown. That's a choice we have. If you do nothing, we'll get nothing. If you do something, we'll definitely get something, if not today, tomorrow. Right? Now that's a choice which will drive an outcome, which will be a situation later on. Imagine, aage jaake when the job market opens up and there's a job opportunity which demands a certification, which thankfully you have achieved because you spent your lockdown time properly. Now you'll be able to get that job. You'll be able to use the situation or opportunity better. You were ready for it, right? But if you didn't prepare yourself, you don't have the certification, you lose that opportunity. So be it, it's in your hands. The choice is yours, right? So the situation comes to us, it's not in our control, but the choice is ours. We control it. What do we do with it is in our hands. And that is what makes the life happen to all of us. It's a cycle of situations and choices leading to situations leading us to choose, choices leading us to situations, and the cycle continues, right? These situations that happen to us, these are prarabdhas. As per the karmic theory, prarabdha means praya uplabdha, which means something that has been available to us because of what we have done in the past, right? So whatever karma we have accrued, good or bad, in the past is going to bear consequences today and tomorrow, right? And those consequences will kind of come to us as situations, and then again when we leverage it through the choices is how we'll kind of make the best use of it. This is how the karmic theory is. Okay, that's a quick summary so that the next sessions will be easy and okay for you. That's all for today's session. Thank you so much for your time and patience, and hope to see you in the next session. Thank you so much. Bye bye.